Yeah.
Okay, are you seeing that?
Yes. Uh-huh.
Okay, now watch this. I'm trying to do two things here. I was trying to do this. I was trying to label the dimension on that. Let me show you how I did that.
Okay.
To survey text,
Mm-hmm.
offset dimensions.
Okay.
Okay, and I picked that corner
Yep.
and I told it to go perpendicular
Yeah,
to this.
which it does anyway, but that's okay. That should still work.
Okay, now you see what it's saying down there.
Snap to perpendicular line. So now go ahead and show that line again. All right, try it. All right, run the command again, but this time don't choose the snap. Just go ahead and run the command and let me point you out a couple of things. Now, see right there where it says on the command line, it says end on. So the command has turned on endpoint snap for you. Even if you did not have it on before, it would now be on.
Okay.
So now it's on. So you pick that. And now you see it turns perpendicular on. So just pick that and you're done. I mean, you got to place it now. So you did, but where did it go?
And it says pick line to offset from. So it's not, there's something wrong with this drawing. I've done something. Now, let me show you this. I've been labeling, I've been dimensioning this all along.
Uh-huh.
Today, I just started working on this drawing today to, who is that?
You're still in the command, so
Okay,
press escape. There you go.
Okay, so now I go to annotate angle distance, and what I wanted to do here was a bearing distance.
Okay.
And pick first point. I want to do this line. I pick that point. Pick that point, and see what it says.
Yeah, and then it first. Huh. Let me take a look here. Let's see. Let me request remote control.
It started doing that after I labeled this curve down here.
Okay. All right. So we'll.
I don't know if that's a superstitious.
Go. Okay. Now let me take a look at something here for a minute. You're doing this inside the viewport, which is correct. But let me just double check. It looks like maybe you don't have your tabs on. Oh yeah, there they are. Sorry. It's a model. So yeah, that's what I'm thinking, is that there's a couple of things out here that are getting all out of whack. Yeah, like see, that looks like that's where those things are going. So let's take a look at this in just a minute. I'm going to delete those. We'll do them over again here.
Why would they do that?
Well, I don't know exactly. Sometimes it gets confused on that. When you're double clicking inside there, that's why, like, I almost always try. And like, here's, I almost always.
That might be a radius point for a curve.
Yeah, let's see what that happens to be. That is, yep, corner radius point. And then what is that is the
see, that's the I've got something wrong, something
yeah,
with this drawing. I don't know what
yeah,
I've done.
see, it's a matter, yeah, it's a matter of the scaling that's all set up. So I see down here at the bottom, this is set up for annotation of being 1 inch equals 100 feet. All right, that's fine. Now let's look at the settings.
But the drawing is 1 inch to 200 feet. So does that matter?
Well, yeah, it would matter. It would change the relative sizes here. So that if this were 200, then that would be 16 drawing units instead of 8. All right, so if we if we set this to be 200, now we got 1616. If we say okay, now see that's changed this down here at the bottom to be 100 feet. And now we've also got, there's something that's living way far away from this. That's, see, I did a zoom extents and there's something that it's grabbing, like, yeah, this right out here. That may also be a corner point, but let's take a look. That is that piece of text. All right, so if we get rid of that and then do a zoom extents, okay, that's a little more like what I was looking for. And then this, there's your radius point, that's okay. If we, let's change this point so we can see it. We'll resize the point attributes as absolute and attribute and symbol size. Now this is, I'm not sure if that's supposed to be this or if it's supposed to be 16. We'll try it both ways. We'll say both. And from the screen, and we'll select this. All right, so let's undo that and let's do it as 16. All right, 16, both. Oh. Well, I'll get it here in a minute. Oh, I'm sorry, I gotta answer the question. Yeah. All right, that's a little more like what I would expect to see out there. Good, now we're cooking. Okay, now you got the same thing here. And it looks like what's happened, for whatever reason, whether or not you consciously changed a scale or something, you know, there's something about this scaling that, you know, maybe another command interrupted it and got it set somehow out of whack. So I will do the same thing here as an absolute. Choose both, and we'll choose from the screen. We'll check that. So there's now that one, 209. This one was 206. Okay, so now because you probably don't want that to plot, we can either put that on a layer that's not going to plot or do
Oh, that's what
something
happened
with
to
it.
my other point number. That was one of the questions. This is the drawing that we look at tomorrow. And that was
Okay.
one of my questions I had, is that my point numbers are
Well,
missing.
okay, then let's just do them all here while we're at it. So we'll say absolute by that size, both by the screen, and let's just say all. Okay. So there they are. No, you know, you can reposition those and all that as you need to do.
Right.
When you get to
on
that.
the final plat, I'll actually turn them off.
And that's fine, yeah. All right, so now when we do this dimensioning, and of course we can either do it here, and like I said, when it's annotation, I tend to try to always do them here so I can see what might happen, because when I'm over here and double clicked inside my what's going on? Yeah, so if I double click inside here so that I'm in the model space of this layout tab, which I see with that heavy border, it should work okay over there, but sometimes things get a little out of sync with that. Just like you saw, I think it would be okay now when we did it, because I think what was happening before was there was one of those numbers somewhere was sort of out of whack, and you gave the dimensions, and it drew it, but it drew it like way up in, you know, out here in the hinterlands. Remember the ones that we erased earlier.
Yeah.
Now,
So you do that stuff in model rather than on the paper space.
well, yeah, but I mean, when you double click inside this frame, you're in model space. You're in the model space when you're doing it there. You're just looking at it through that viewport.
Right.
But I tend to do just for a little bit more security in case there's something kind of gotcha that's going to come up. I tend to switch the actual tab. Now I'm not, there's something, my mouse control seems to be completely off. Let's see. I'm going to stop remote control for a minute and then I'll turn it back on here. So I'll request remote control again. And if you give me that.
Okay, it's not coming up.
Might be on the other screen or something.
Nope. Oh, it's thinking.
All right, now, okay, there we go. All right, so now. There, okay, looks like I'm back now. All right. So, so yeah, we could. Now I'm gonna select this and verify over here that indeed, yep, we're at 1 to 200. So that's all matched up now. It's in good shape. Now, go ahead and just like you did before, I'm gonna let you do it. If you double click inside there and try your dimensioning, let's see if it gets back to shape now. Okay, now remember, yeah, that's all you gotta do is pick it. And,
Still something wrong.
all right, so, let me see here a second. So let's undo that a minute and there we go. All right, now you come back to here and try that. Okay, go ahead there. Yeah, see. And so you're just going to click to show it where you want it to draw. Like if you drag it to the left, the whole dimension would go out there to the left. So that's fine, just like what you did. Now, here's what I think's going on. You see down here at your UCS icon,
Yeah.
because that square is on, that tells you that you're in the world coordinate system. You're at proper ground coordinates.
Yeah.
When you look over here, sorry, let's go back to here. And I'm out here in the paper space. See, my cursor is still a cursor out there.
Yeah.
And I see my little icon, which is blue, and it looks like a triangle now, but it has that little square, which means I'm in world coordinates.
Yeah.
Now, this is world coordinates for this sheet of paper, which tends to have 0, 0 down here in the corner. And it's so far, 22 by 17 or whatever size sheet we made. And then if we double click inside of here, which I just did there, aha, that's exactly what's going on. You see that?
Yeah.
Those crosshairs?
Yeah.
And so they are aligned with the screen, but now your cursor crosshairs are aligned with
I see.
something else entirely. So all you have to do in this case, when you look in there and you see that that's out of whack, if you type, or let's say show you on the menus, if you go to view, UCS, and you want to set it to world. Okay. So now you see how that's pointing the same way that the north arrow points?
Yeah.
Now it should draw the little square there. I don't know why it doesn't. Maybe it's something to do with the fact that we're looking at it in here. So now, if I were to select this and get rid of it, I'll let you run that command again now from the way you're doing it here, and it should work. Okay, and now just move it to wherever you want. Okay, now, and go ahead and put it down. I'll show you what you'll do to fix that text. Now, you see how the text is rotated?
Yes.
And if you look at down here, see, it's rotated due east in the world coordinate space.
Right.
So what you would do, because this is just, it's a dimension, okay?
Yeah.
So you could highlight that and then go over here and find what piece of that is here. That's in this text, seeing that there's a text, there's lines and arrows, and there's all this stuff. So we would find the rotation of the text and put in whatever that's supposed to be. And if we want it to line up to match that, here's the little trick we're going to do. We see this piece of text here.
Yeah.
And that's also in model space. So we select that. That's the alignment we want to use, or we could use a line or something.
Yeah.
And we look at it and we see that it has a rotation of this. So we highlight all of that, right click and choose copy. Right. Then we go back to this, scroll down here and find the text portion, and where it has its rotation, we highlight that and choose paste. And of course it doesn't work. All right, so let's see. Wait a minute, why am I seeing? All right, so that didn't work. Let me see something, Mike. There is this. All right, I'm in the model space. Okay, so there's this that has that rotation. It should work. Let me try something here a second. If I have a line from here to here. And I'm just going to move it down here so I can remember to delete it. Let's see if it gives me a rotation for that. Yeah, see, that's that same angle, south. South 73 east, okay. That's that same one there, all right. And if I look at this guy, it's text, and that's in relationship to that has a text rotation of due east, which is 0. So if I set it to this, yeah, that should. I certainly should have done that. Let's see if I take 45 off of this. That makes it 28, which I think is going to be the wrong direction. Okay. Whale. I'm trying to, yeah, I could I could bring this all around and try to set it up with the dimension style and all that, but I'm trying to find an easier way for you to be able to do this all the time. And I think if we do this, we go back, we're out of the model here. Let's go back to model space and let's look at it here. That's got that same thing. This has text. And if I do that, it should probably do the same thing it did before. Yep, it did. All right. Now we are in world coordinates. Let me think here. And see, that's also, you see this line over here?
Yeah.
See, that looks, you probably want to flip that or not. Depends on your convention, because you might want to do it because it's referencing a certain, no, let me see. No, that's the right way. This one up here, you might want to change. It's West Virginia Route 230. So that it's not reading the wrong direction. Now it reads okay here because you're not rotated like you are here.
Right.
Okay, but once you're here, that now is upside down. So what you want to do with that to fix that is you would just simply take that and either set its rotation to 180 degrees outside of that, or in fact, I think we can do that just by, instead of northeast, we make that southwest. I think this will work. Yeah, it did, but then we're going to have to pull this down a little bit to like where you have it. It's right in there. So now when you look at it here, it'll be, and you may have to scoot it closer. I don't know where you wanted to put it, but let's not waste a lot of time with that. I'll let you straighten that out later. Now, I would do the same thing with this one. You could also, instead of trying to, change the bearing of that line, you can rotate it by 180 degrees, or you could just rotate it.
How do you rotate it by 180 degrees?
Well, it's just like anything else, whether it's a line or anything, you just select it. And then you go over to your modify toolbar and choose rotate, or you right click and choose rotate.
Yeah.
And you say, give it a rotation point. So I'm going to just pick a point right there, sort of in the middle. And you see, as you're doing that, now you could do it graphically and that would be fine. Or down below at the prompt, it asks for a rotation angle. You just type 180.
Okay, I got it.
Okay. Yeah. So that's how to fix that. Now let me see this on this offset stuff. If we look at the survey text defaults, and this is a offset dimension text. There's our size. That's great. There's the offset from line. That's fine. The text alignment right here. If we say parallel, that should put it in the same direction as the arrow, I would think. And this position, either automatic or pick, that's why you had to slide down and click a second time after you picked the line, because it says picked. Yeah. If you said auto, it's wherever you pick the line is where it draws it.
Right.
So you would pick that endpoint and then point to this line just anywhere you pick it, and then it would draw it right here. even though the dimension is still 50 feet out here because you slid it. So I would leave that one there. If you say horizontal, then that's the way this would normally show up, I would think. So I'm going to try a couple of things. I'm going to say horizontal, and let's see, what else do we have? Center justified. That's for adjoiners. Okay, this is all over here. So dual arrows, that's good. Horizontal. Horizontal should do what I'm thinking that is there. So now that was just the defaults. And now I'm going to set this by here. I'll pick this line. Yeah, so you see that line stays horizontal.
Yeah.
Okay, there's that. Now that's the same thing that yours did. And if I look at that and I see that its text is set to east rotation, which is horizontal, so that would all be well and good. Now, if I did this, let's set her defaults first and put that back to parallel. And I'm just wondering if this is not working correctly. That's what I'm trying to do. So back to annotate survey text, and now offset, go from here to this line. And now, yeah, see, it's not working the way it should be. That should line up with the dimension arrow itself. And since it's not, let's see, what can we do to make it easy to fix? If we do this, if we twist screen to align polyliner text, we call that due east. Oh crap, let's see. Let me undo that. Try that one more time. Now, what I'm doing is I'm doing a twist screen, which is I'm going to go here. Now, of course, it's drawn the other direction. So I'm going to say that instead of 90, that's 270. All right, so now that's horizontal. And if I annotate my offset from here to here, whoa. Why does it do it that way? Very interesting. Go back to text, still says east. Well, because you see my UCS icon still has a square on it, so I haven't changed the UCS. That part's good. So it's still reading those. Now, if I were to do, for instance, that, see, we're so close. I'll tell you, I know exactly what's going on. All right, so if I do an offset dimension from that, let's say, to this line, you see how that text becomes, when I said parallel, it's in line. Or if I did that again from here, perpendicular to this line, that's, oh, I'm sorry, I need to change the default. If I set my default to be horizontal instead, and then re-annotated with this offset, go from here, same line. Must have missed it. Let's see, annotate, survey text, offset dimensions, there to there. Whoa. It it apparently plays around with this UCS icon. You see the squares no longer there? So when I interrupted that command, that's what happened to it, is that it reset, it behind the scenes. What are those?
I have no idea.
Are those building dimensions maybe?
Nope.
Or like the septic field dimensions, anything like that?
Nope.
All right. Oh gosh, I got stuff everywhere. So something about, now is that a point? Yeah, it's 0.233. All right, let's go back to the world and let's restore our twist screen. So there's that point. If I look at this, whoa, it's way down here now, and that is I have no idea. All right, there's our two radius points. I'm good with that. 0.233 has an attribute way out of whack. Let's see here. I don't know what it is. With my copy. Let me see here. Let's try this. Find line, draw a line. From 233. Aha, so there's where 233 is. And it is that corner point. Okay. So that point should, aha. So I'll go up here and grab that attribute and bring it back. Bring it back home. I don't have any idea. My guess, Mike, is that there's something when I was doing this stuff with this changed business and I interrupted it in the middle. You noticed it reset this icon here because when it's running in the background, it's doing all that stuff and not telling us, that that's what's going on. And so we interrupted it in between the time it had a chance to reset itself. So now if we, let me make sure if I double click, okay, that's good. So now if I make sure my survey text defaults, and now I'm looking at horizontal instead of parallel here at the text alignment. And if I do my offset dimension, I'm going to go from here to here. Now you see the difference of how it treats the text?
Yeah.
Okay. These are just dimensions, and that's parallel alignment, that's horizontal. And it works exactly like you think, as long as there's enough room to show that offset. And think about this as if that's a house out here on this large lot, and that's the tie to the property line, okay? But you're using it in a sort of different fashion. You're going to do it this way, which is perfectly fine. But here's what happens with it. When you do it this way, you go from here to this line, and then you position it, in some form like that. Now that lines itself up horizontally on this x-axis, but this whole thing is as part of the dimension. And don't try to memorize any of this kind of stuff. I'm just trying to explain to you what's going on with it. There are parts of this, so you can move some of this stuff around. And as you move this over here, for instance, like this, now if this were a true dimension, you would expect to see a little extension line drawn out like this, right, to show you what it's tying to.
Yeah.
And it would be, and that's called an extension line, and that would be right here. And I see I've got dimension lines, and the dimension line is the line with the double-headed arrow, and the extension line is that one that sticks out from here. So if I select that and turn on, say, my first one, see what it did? It put that right back in there. Okay, so so there's a couple of things we can do here. Let me turn that extension line back off. And we'll move this. I'm just clicking and just sort of, dragging this around. In fact, I can take this and as I just click and move that, you see the whole thing's moving and everything's sort of tied together. Now, when it draws the text or the number, the value outside of the space between the two arrowheads, unlike when it was down here and it was in between the two, this is what they call dimension with a leader. And it's an automatic thing. When there's not enough room to fit it, it draws a leader to the line and puts it out here on the side.
Okay.
So there's a couple things there. Let's see. Not the extension line, and it's under the section called fit, because that's how it does the fit. If you say the dimension line inside, that means it's always going to draw in here. If we turn that off, it would not draw that, but then put the arrows on the outside. So let's bring this down here for a minute, and let's change that to down in the fit. If we said dimension line inside, let's turn that off. And it had no effect. Whoops. Dimension line inside out, dimension line forced on. Now we don't have to force it, but we'll turn it off. Text inside, we say on, and keep dimension line with text. We'll move text and add a leader. So by moving the text and adding a leader, if I take, there we go. See how you can do that? Now, if you select this and find its rotation and copy it, we select this, come down here and we'll double check the fit. The text inside is okay. We added a leader, moved the text. Best fit. Let's change its rotation. This should, there it is. And so you can now, so you see now that text lines up with this, but of course that little leader was a little wacky. So if we put it out, here, that's kind of goofy. Let's see. Centered text outside the alignment is on. Let's see, what else do we have here? Yeah, there's no, all right, see, I want to be able to, well, all right, so that's going to look like that, which would be okay, but you know, you might prefer
No, it's
to
okay.
have, yeah, I mean, you know, you might prefer to have that horizontal tick to be perpendicular to it here. And the way that we would do that, Mike, is let's make sure I'm here. I'm gonna position that over that a little bit, so it's not in the gap. All right. So, I mean, there's ways to do that with regular dimensioning, and you set up that leader bit, and you'd have to rotate that UCS to line up with that thing. But we're going to you know, our coordinate system is rotated, as you can see, from the north. So that should suffice for that. And even if you wind up, see, we're in north, and let's say that we just simply did this. I'm trying to, if I do that, point to here. I mean, you know, there's nothing wrong with that one as it is.
Right.
And if we are here, and if I pull this, you know, just to eliminate that. Yeah, so the command that it's using, I'll go ahead and get rid of that. When you run that command offset dimension, is it's taking a particular dimension style that it has created, and it's setting that up. And that's why when we selected it, we had to go through and change all this business about fit and all that, which I don't want you to have to worry about doing. If I see that our dimension style, so that's an offset dimension. If I edit that style, now see, I could set this up so that all the time it would do this. And let's see what we need to do. The text, standard style.
Yeah, but that'll just do that on this drawing, right? That won't be for all drawings.
Yeah, we'd have to put this style definition in all your other drawings, or, you know, put it in your drawing template that you use to start a new drawing with. You're right. And so here it is, text orientation when the text is outside the extension lines. Is you could, if we did that, and let's regen that and see. Let's set its style now. Oop, it's aligned dimension. Dimension style. I'm going to change it for a minute to standard. And then let's put it back to this one so it's redefined it. So that's all right. Yeah, so see, that's, yeah. I would say, Mike, I would just live with it.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good with it.
Okay. Let me, oh, hang on. Let me first of all put it back. And that was horizontal, horizontal. All right, let me one more time put this back to here. I'll go from there to that line. There it is there. And if I want to reposition that just for a little more clarity, I can do it like so. Just grabbing the text. Yep. That would be what I would do with it. Now, see, it looks like it's sort of lined up because this line is almost sort of, you know, but that's not necessarily the case. Like when you're up here on this one, you know, if we did it, say from this corner to here, and we'd be like that, and then we would take that text and maybe, you know, put it out here, or, you know, wherever you wanted it to go.
Yeah.
Let's say right in there. And I can't see, yeah, see, it's not even pulling out to that other direction, but that happens to be, you know, square, horizontal to the screen. It's not perpendicular to this line, which would be the same alignment as this in between here.
Right.
So anyway, now when all of that stuff, if any and all of that kind of stuff should fail, what you can always do is once you get that number in there, whatever you're wanting to show, and I would not do this unless you just can't get it to look like what you want, but you can explode this dimension and then it just becomes arrowheads and lines and text. And you would just select it and either come over here on the side and choose the little dynamite or right click, explode. Okay, so now this, let's say if I didn't want that, or if I wanted that to come, I mean, let's take the text and the little stick and I brought them down to, oops, let's move from there to say here. And then maybe I did this, something like that. You know, there's all kinds of things you could do. You could, you know, move this guy out to here. Whoops, no, it would go here. And then this guy, you would move out, you know, to here. And then I would, you know, just stretch these things out to like that, you know, so there's, you know, and put more sticks out there. So all of that kind of stuff, if you really need to manipulate this stuff and you can't really find out how to do it with those controls, you can just explode it and reposition it. Now there's a couple of things I see going on too in terms of draw order. You remember how to set all those like this 202, for instance. In fact, those symbols look to be a little small.
They are.
So if we select similar and bring them up to the front, and if we resize your point attributes, and let's just do them scale. Let's try 1.5 times bigger just for the symbols from the screen. Let's try all. it didn't seem to do much. Oh, that took care of those over there.
No, those were already that size. The ones on the road are a different size for some reason. That was one of my questions for tomorrow.
Okay. Well, and then here's, oh, that's a 6. Okay, I thought that was another symbol. All right. Oh, now see, I regened and they went way larger. So if we select similar and oh, wait a minute. No, let me. All right, there we go. Now, let's see what we have. Are those all supposed to be the same? Do you intend for them to be
Yes,
like that size?
right.
Okay. And are they all the same symbol?
They are, but the ones in the middle of the road are solid.
So they're not white in the middle, they're black all the way across?
Yes.
Is that the case? Okay. So this guy, and let's see, so we got all the points. We'll bring them all up to the front for starters. Okay, now let's take a look at what symbol size this is. So if I select it and look at its symbol, it's SPT4, which if you look at this, see here's 2 and here's 4.
Yeah.
So 4 is like twice the diameter of 2. Okay, so my guess is that, so you've also got 3s and 5s. I'm guessing those over there are set to 3 and they should be 5s.
That could be.
So if we do this, yeah, see there's a 3. And if we make it a 5 and say, okay, now we're a little bit more like what you were probably intending, correct?
Yeah, I can go through and do that.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. And now don't select one of these and say select similar, because you'll get these over here too. Just do them individually, right? Okay. You may also want to give that a little bigger arrowhead. So I'll just select that, lines and arrows and arrow size. I'm just going to basically try some numbers here. Why is it staying 0? Let's see, what are our units? 1, 2, let's do at least 2. So that's all right. I have a feeling that it's not. There we go. So I don't need it quite that big. It just wasn't responding with the regen. So let's put that back to 0.25 and regen. That's a little more clear. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Now, if this is supposed to be that 18 by 24,
Okay, let me verify that first.
yes.
And I really didn't mean to take up this much of your time.
It's all right, Michael. You're a friend of mine. If you were a jerk ass client, I would have been charging you for it. I'm giving you today free because it's a lovely day. And I spent the weekend in Cleveland with my little grandson. So there.
All right.
Man, what a trip that was. It's amazing. This little kid, his parents, I hate to brag on my own kids, but they've done such a fine job. Now, this is my middle girl's little boy. It's their only child. Her older brother has two boys, and he's raising your typical two boys. It's fine. But Laura and her husband Dan have done such an amazing job with this little kid. He's 2.5. And it's like having a conversation with a grown-up. You can understand everything he says very clearly. He thinks through things. It's just amazing. It was such a delightful weekend.
Sounds like a
And
very
so,
guy.
yeah, and so of course I was obligated as granddad to let him go ride in granddad's cool car and go out and get ice cream right before lunchtime. So me and the boys buddies now. So much to mommy and daddy had to explain to them that now this is not something that we can do all the time. Now your granddad did that against our wishes. So excuse me. But as you can imagine, that's what granddads are supposed to do.
Right.
So like I said, and Mike, if I were under the gun about something right now, I'd tell you we can pick this up later. Or in fact, even if you like, do you still need tomorrow after what we've done today?
Yeah.
As
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
okay, I'm gonna say
A bunch of stuff I need to get done tomorrow.
okay. I didn't know if we were hitting all the points.
No, this was something.
Okay, yeah, it just wasn't working right. You needed to figure out how to go on.
Yeah.
All right, so, but what's the verdict on that sheet size? Do you know yet?
Oh no, I don't.
Oh,
You were waiting for me.
okay.
I've got to go online.
I see. I thought you were looking for that, and I was just waiting for you to come back with it. Okay, so
No.
no, well, no problem. Then let's just, if you want to find that out, and we'll do that for tomorrow,
Yeah.
and we'll just reconvene with that at 9 o'clock. How's that?
No, not 9 o'clock. Remember, I have a dentist appointment, 10:30.
Oh, that's right. That's right. You said 10:30. I got it. What I did is it's in the 10:30 slot, but I still have my description set to 9 o'clock. Never mind. Okay. So we'll do that. Tomorrow we'll wrap that kind of stuff up. Now, what this may do is if this turns into being 18 by 24 instead of 17 by 22, then really there's no real benefit. Like we're not going to change the scale or anything like that. We'll just have a little more breathing room, elbow room to rearrange the notes and the title block and all that kind of stuff. So we'll just make it look pretty.
Okay. Well, we
Alrighty.
and do that to the templates too.
Yes, if that's the case. So we can take a crack at that tomorrow as well.
Okay.
Alrighty.
Thank you very much.
All right,
sir.
then. You are most welcome. Go enjoy the rest of your day, and we'll see you in the morning.
Okay.
All righty.